Our next recipient, Don Schmid, had a long career leading the North Dakota Department of Health and Human Services. Don's journey of service and advocacy began during his junior year at the University of North Dakota when he interned at the Benson County Social Service Office, which included time spent on the Spirit Lake Reservation. This experience profoundly shaped his perspective, instilling in him a lifelong commitment to improving the lives of others. Don spent more than 3 decades with the North Dakota Department of Health and Human Services. For 12 years, he served as the Director of Children and Family Services, where he played a vital role in reshaping social services and their funding across the state. As a visionary leader, Don likened his role to that of an orchestra conductor, orchestrating collaboration among state and private agencies in education, social services, juvenile services, and mental and behavioral health.
Besides being one of my favorite people, Don is a true visionary. He has a gift for sorting through multiple ideas, challenges, and opportunities, and bringing everything and everyone together in a way that just makes sense. President Armacost has said that this is the year of connections. Don is the perfect example of that. He is a connector.
One of his outstanding contributions was the establishment of the UND Children and Family Services Training Center in partnership with Dr. Kenneth Dawes. This initiative has since been replicated in over 30 states, fostering the development of child welfare service providers and benefiting countless families.
When you are in Don's presence, you feel comfortable and valued. And when you leave, you just hope that you can share the same kindness and generosity with others that he does.
I nominated my grandfather because I think he really embodies the characteristic of being a leader that UND wants to instill in their students. He's 84 years old and he's still working. His career has spanned over 60 years. And so he's just been a real inspiration for me in pursuing my dreams, and he's always just told me, you know, a good education starts at UND, so you gotta go there, find what you love, and then pursue it with everything you have. And I think that's what he's done throughout his whole social work career, and I think it's really inspired me just to keep doing what I love and give back to the community when I can.
So Don, I know we just surprised you with the news that it was your granddaughter who nominated you for this award. For committing your life to the betterment of others, please come forward to accept this.
Better than having your granddaughter. I would like to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I'd like to thank my wife of 56 years, Sylvia, my kids, Kristen, who is a physical therapist in Fargo, my son Mark, who is a Lutheran minister in Plymouth, Minnesota. You notice that thread of service to others. I'd like to thank that my daughter Kristen's husband Scott, who is here, my grandson Zach, my granddaughter, Erica, she didn't mention, but she is in her first year of the doctoral program in physical therapy at the university. And my grandson, Jake. I'd like to thank my friends, many of whom we've known for over 50 years, for their being here tonight. I'd like to thank Leanna and the foundation for all that you do. And I would like to acknowledge all my friends and colleagues that have gone before me and on whose shoulders I have stood. I'd also like to honor and recognize all the other recipients of the Sioux Award tonight. Needless to say, I have been blessed. My career began here at UND and continues today. I'd like to highlight some of what UND has meant to me in my over 60-year career. It was mentioned, but I want to enlarge on it a bit, that in the summer of 1960, the North Dakota Department of Public Welfare, its name at that time, entered into an agreement with the Department of Social Work at the university for a summer field placement program, and I was one of 3 students selected for a field placement. I received $200 a month, 3 hours of college credit, and I lived at my home of Minnewacan, and my field placement was at Benson County. I was assigned then to work at Fort Totten, now the Spirit Lake Reservation. And although I lived only 20 miles from the reservation, I saw conditions I did not know existed. I saw extreme poverty, poor housing, lack of medical care, lack of justice, and violations of federal treaty obligations. That summer I grew up. That experience changed my life and has informed and guided me throughout my professional career. In November of 1961, I began to work in a state demonstration project housed in Williston, North Dakota, and I was at a branch office in Stanley. I was supervised by UND graduate Dr. Ken Dawes, my mentor and friend, and a Chester Fritz Distinguished Professor here at the university. He recommended I go to graduate school in social work at Columbia University, and I graduated from there in 1964 with an emphasis in community organization and administration. Fast forward to March of 1984, when I was a deputy at Children and Family Service of the state, and there was a budget crisis, and the divisions were asked to make reductions. So I called Ken Dawes, who at the time was the chair of the social work department at the university, and I asked if there was any way UND would be interested in entering into a contract with the State Children and Family Service to train all new social workers. We talked for a while on specifics, and we agreed to formalize our discussion with the contract to create the UND Children and Family Service Training Center, which began operations in May 1984. In April 1991, Dr. Dawes and I were invited to speak at the National Child Welfare Training Symposium in Washington, D.C. to describe the North Dakota model of state and university collaboration, which by that time had become a national model. Today, 39 years after its creation, the UND Children and Family Service Training Center remains an essential part of all public and private child welfare and foster and adoption training in North Dakota. There are over 30 states that have established a similar but unique program to each state between the university and the state. 3 of those directors and staff are here tonight. Roger Johnson was the first one. Pete Tunseth was the 3rd director, I believe, and he led it through many of the changes, innovations, and creativity it has today. And Del Hager was a longtime trainer at the training center. In October 1997, I called Earl Stringer, director of the UND Alumni Foundation, to start an endowed scholarship for second-year students seeking their master's degree in social work. To date, there have been 27 recipients, and over $50,000 has been awarded. In December of 2022, my wife and I endowed a second endowed scholarship at UND, the College of Nursing and Professional Development Indigenous Scholarship Award, and the first recipient received her scholarship this fall. I retired from the state in December of 1997 after 36 and a half years, the last 12 as the state director of Children and Family Service. During that time, I worked with many great, competent, dedicated, and professional people from public and private agencies to develop and fund innovative, family-based social service programs. And also of note has been the leadership from the North Dakota tribes, who have negotiated the best tribal state child welfare agreement in the United States. For the past 25 years, I have been a national private consultant in 3 primary areas: managing and funding child welfare services, state child welfare and university training partnerships, and tribal-state relationships. My consulting has been guided by lessons learned in North Dakota, and this has resulted in working with 29 states, 9 universities, and nearly 60 Indian tribes. How fortunate am I to have graduated from this fantastic university and to have had a wonderful career that all began here. Thank you so much.